This week on Auto Talk, we're going to talk about 10 car features that are no longer in cars. Do you know what they are? Talk a little bit about gas prices. We're going to talk about the Textilizer. And our car care tip of the week, how long should your spare last? We've got all that in your phone calls and our last crown giveaway. So let's get started.
It's time for Auto Talk, the show where you get expert advice about that car or truck. To ask a question or make a comment, call 736-0186. That's 736-0186. And now, here's that sultan of the spark plugs, that king of the carburetor, that doctor of the double clutch, a prince of a man, Ed Welch.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday, April 29th, 2017 edition of Auto Talk. I am your host, Ed Welsh, and for the rest of this hour, we'll be discussing matters that are of pertinence to you and your automobile. As always, we hope to impart to you some useful automotive information and perhaps provoke some automotive conversation on this gray-looking Saturday morning in Mohawk Valley. We've got lots of stuff to talk about today. We're going to do our crown contest right before we take the first break, so stay close to the radio. And by the way, this week it's a contest, so to speak. So you're going to have to call in and tell me an item that is no longer in cars. So you're going to have to earn it this morning. But we'll do that shortly. But as we get rolling here, we'll talk about our car care tip of the week, and it's about your spare tire. And how long should it last? So let me ask you, when was the last time you put air in your spare tire? Be honest. Now, if you're like me, it hasn't crossed your mind in months. And I'm pretty good about my car care. But you know what? I was thinking about it this morning, and I said, you know what? I haven't checked the air in the spare probably in 8 or 9 months. And I normally do it more regular than that, but I did not. And for some of us, it might be years. And some of you maybe never bothered to do it at all. So that needs to stop today. Because you know what? When we're done today, you'll know how long your spare tire is supposed to last, and hopefully you'll go out and check it. So we're going to talk about some of the best ways to care for your spare tire, and we're going to talk about how long they should last. Now, most full-size spare tires are designed to last anywhere from 7 to 10 years. And, of course, you should never use a tire that has visible damage on it. So if you can see cracks in the sidewall, punctures, impact bulges, or irregular tread wear, all those things can be dangerous to drive on, and you don't want to use that at all. Now, for some people that still have full-size spares, and if you do have one, I would recommend that you rotate it with the rest of your tires. And, of course, that would not be a handy thing to do if you have a factory wheel on your car that's other than just steel with covers with a hubcap. But if you have a regular wheel on your car and a regular spare tire and it's interchangeable, the best practice is to rotate with 5 wheels. And in that case, your spare is getting attention, they're all getting used, and you're going to gain 20-25% more use out of your tires because you're going to be rotating one on that always has a little less tread wear on it. But with that said, most of us have our spare tire tucked away in the trunk or underneath the car, which is very difficult to get to. And guess what? It's probably lost some of its air pressure. So the next time you check your tires, if it's in your trunk, you want to open it all up. It'd be a good time to check to see if your jack is there and your jack handle, and be familiar with that equipment. But you should probably want to check the air tire pressure in the spare. Now, if you've got a vehicle where it's underneath the vehicle, that is a pain in the butt. I know, crawling on the ground to check that is not your idea of fun. What I would recommend, if you're not that ambitious, is the next time you're going for an oil change and it's up on the lift, have the guy in the garage actually take it out of its cradle and make sure the hardware isn't rusted solid so that it can be used. On many occasions, we see flat tires, especially with trucks, where they're up underneath, and the mechanism is rusted enough to where it won't break loose. So exercising that mechanism, getting it lubed and greased so it doesn't rot out and rust into place, and then checking the air is probably a good idea. Now, of course, check your owner's manual and the sticker on the side of the door jamb or in the trunk lid or the glove box, depending on where it is on your vehicle. Talk about the tire pressure that belongs on your spare. I tend to put a few extra pounds in mine just from the fact that it sits around and does nothing. Now, many of us are toting a compact temporary spare, a donut or a space saver as we call them. And you know what? Many of those require as much as 60 pounds per square inch to be full of air. Remember, they're smaller and they have to hold a lot of weight, so they put a lot of pressure in them. Now, you want to check what it's supposed to take, what the spare is supposed to take. And if you notice, it'll say maybe the front one takes 30, the rear one takes 30, it'll say spare takes 60. So just think, if you got a donut and it's got 30 psi in it, obviously that's not going to be good. Now, of course, when we talk about infrequent use combined with exposure, if it's underneath the vehicle, rubber does dry out and does crack in weather check. We talk about not using a weather check tire for a spare, but you definitely want to make sure that it's not damaged. And of course, the thing about a donut tire you have to remember is that it's really designed to get you home to the repair shop. It's not designed for full-time use. In fact, you know what? Driving too long on one of these little guys can actually damage your transmission because it spins at a different rate than the other tire that's originally on it. So I would not want to run hundreds and hundreds of miles on a donut. Now, one of the questions that I've asked every once in a while is, how fast can you drive on a spare tire? Again, donut tires are not meant for highway driving. The fastest I would ever go with a donut is 50 miles an hour, and I would not go that fast with it. I'd run about 45 at tops, and I would be looking for a place to get a new tire as quickly as possible. So, again, to get you off the road, get you to a safe place, get you to the garage, get you home, that's fine. But I would not want to be driving on a donut like down the thruway for any long length of time. I would definitely want to get off the road and get me a new tire, or if it's during, again, you're at home, you're out to work, normal work day, you'd want to use that to get you to the tire shop. The unfortunate part is the donuts are what they are. And then, of course, we talk about no spare tire. And that's a big problem as well, because I do not like these inflator kits in these cars. And I do not like the slime or other type of stuff that they use in these things. I do not like them at all. Sadly, more and more cars are coming with them. My advice about all of this is that unless you're getting a car every couple of years, unless you're in a program where you're leasing a car every 2 or 3 years and you're just getting rid of the car and you don't care, if you're going to have a car for long term, in my opinion, that's more than 5 years, and you're going to buy a car and keep it a while, then I would invest in a full-size spare. Most cars can be ordered with a full-size spare, and yep, you pay for it, no question about it. But I would feel a whole lot better having one of those in my car than I would with donut tire or one of those inflator kits. Many cars do have the well to put it in. If you're going to get a new car, one of the questions you should ask is if a full-size kit is available. In other words, you generally can order it brand new when you order a car, or get it when you order a new car. But you want to make sure the car has a well to put it in. And I would, again, I'm not a fan of these inflator kits at all. They do work to a degree, and if I was going to go with no spare on my car, I'd rather have run-flat tires, to be quite frank. And if I was given one of those two options, I would choose the run-flat tires over the inflator. But remember that, small holes, like a nail puncture, works pretty good. Those inflator kits can deal with those. But regardless of what you have in your car, remember that the inflator kit, if you have one, you should read the instructions carefully and know the limitations. And by the way, inflator kits have an expiration date on them, generally 4 to 8 years. So again, best advice I have is to have a spare tire, full-size spare tire, available when you can. My second choice, of course, is the donut. And the third choice for me is actually I'd rather have run-flat tires than have an inflator kit. But if you have one of those things and it's been in your car for a while, check the date on it. They do have an expiration date. And, of course, if any tire you have is more than 7 to 10 years old, I would think about getting rid of it.